You're listening to theoutdoorstation.co.uk.
If you're thinking of tackling your first long-distance trail, where might be a good place to start? Well, you could do a lot worse than tackle the Ribble Way, a wonderful walk that starts on the Lancashire coast near Preston and follows the River Ribble through to its source in the Yorkshire Dales, finishing near the lovely town of Settle. The trail runs for 71 miles through some of the most beautiful countryside in the north of England. The Cicerone guide to the trail has been written by Jan and Dennis Kelsall. Here they are to take up the story.
If somebody wants to try a long distance walk and have never done one before, it's quite a good one to start off on.
It's not without the capability of most weekend walkers. In fact, if you look at it in a sense, 3 or 4 weekends you could do the thing very comfortably.
And if you were looking to do it in one go, it would take about a week, would it?
About a week, very comfortably.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It also lends itself to day walks, doesn't it? And in fact, we've suggested ways of making day walks out of each of the sections of the route.
Yeah. Most of it you can actually do as a circular walk, although one or two sections we have suggested you might better do it using public transport for the return leg.
Okay, so we can do it in one go, or we can do it in stages, and we can move it around. Now, the route starts in Lancashire and moves up into higher ground in Yorkshire. So, just describe to us the kind of change that we're going to experience as we walk along the trail. Yeah,
you start off where the Ribble meets the Irish Sea, just outside Preston.
And there's quite a wide estuary at that stage.
A very wide, tidal estuary. And I suppose, if everybody's honest about it, that's not the most exciting part of the whole walk. But don't let it put you off. You follow the estuary up into Preston, Lancashire's main town, main city now. And although the walk takes you right through the Ribble goes right through the heart of the centre of the city, you actually do not appreciate that you're in one of the biggest conurbations in Lancashire.
Well, no, the river actually passes through some very nice parkland, doesn't it? I think the parks were developed during the Victorian age, weren't they?
The Victorian Park, yeah. Wonderful riverside walk through the town. And in fact, it's a very popular walk for the people of Preston themselves.
Now, as we move through Preston, we're getting out into the countryside that I think was an inspiration for Tolkien and the Shire, I think.
Yes, that's around Stonyhurst College, which
Tolkien actually went to the college there, didn't he?
Was it Tolkien who went to the college? Or was it Tolkien's son who was at the college? I wonder whether that's
possible.
That might be.
But it's
I'm not a Tolkien.
No, neither am I. But I'm sure there are many people listening that are. But it has that lovely pastoral feel to it as countryside.
I mean, that is perhaps one of our favourite local spots for an afternoon's walking. The Stonyhurst College area, the river bends around and splits. Yeah, the Stonyhurst area where the Hodder meets the Ribble.
And in terms of agriculture, I mean, is the area intensively farmed, or?
It is farmland. You're walking through fields, but by and large they're very pleasant fields. There's a lot of sections of woodland that comes down to the river.
It's a very pretty, gentle countryside, isn't it?
Yes, lots of wildlife, lots of bird life, lots of flowers in the
hedgerows,
clumps of woodland.
Okay, and of course it's gradually walking uphill, isn't it, into the Yorkshire Dales, which are a fabulous area itself. And I guess after 3 or 4 days walking, you're feeling a bit fitter and stronger. But I mean, that's a significant transition.
Yeah, there's nothing difficult. There are no hills to climb in that sense. The transition is a gradual transition.
So, just thinking about the practicalities of the area, it's obviously reasonably easy to get access to accommodation throughout the trail.
There is accommodation throughout the trail, although because the Ribble Way isn't quite as an established walk as other long distance trails, for example, the Pennine Way, Accommodation isn't, in a sense, geared up specifically for the Ribble Way, but there is plenty. There's a lot of farmhouse and bed and breakfast accommodation.
And in terms of accommodation and access, the guidebook has the usual hints about places to stay and so on?
Yeah, there's a fairly comprehensive list of accommodation included along the way.
And the tourist information officers are always very helpful as well.
Very helpful, yes.
It's presumably an area that you can walk throughout the year, but spring seems as if it's particularly good and a lovely summer walk as well.
Spring through to autumn.
Some beautiful colours in the autumn with the woodland.
And particularly then as you get into the higher reaches, lambing time in spring is very good. Late autumn, you may be lucky enough to see salmon.
Still struggling up the river.
Yeah, the Ribble is still a salmon river, or the Ribble is a salmon river, and in November, I think it is, October, November, the salmon migrate upriver to spawn in the higher reaches of the upper streams.
And we've frequently seen deer when we've been out walking there, haven't we?
Funnily enough, winter is one of the best times to see deer because they then come down off the hills into the farmland and the woodland and go quietly. You will see them. Also, many badger sets. We've sat there in an evening, not far from the banks of the Ribble, watching a badger set. The little baby badgers playing away quite happily, attracted by take a bag of peanuts.
So the guide obviously helps us through the entire walk, but if we wanted to do little chunks of it, I mean, where are the best places to base yourself for a couple of days walk?
Settle's a good base.
Settle is a very good place. There's accommodation there, and you straddle then between the lower Ribble Valley and the upper Ribble Valley.
So it sounds a lovely mix of nice gentle pastoral walking, some great wildlife. It's something you'd certainly recommend people to have a think about.
Yes, it's one of those walks I think that certainly every Lancashireman and indeed every Yorkshireman should do.
And you don't have to be from Lancashire or even from Yorkshire to do this.
Certainly
it would appeal to anybody.
Anybody. It's a great countryside walk. It's one of those walks that virtually anybody can do. Anybody who is reasonably fit, it's a great introduction to long distance walking.
Well, there you go. Anybody thinking about tackling their first long distance walk, a bit worried about some of the more famous ones, perhaps the place to start is the
Ribble Way is a very good one to cut your teeth onto.
Dennis and Jan, thanks. Well, a reminder of the vital statistics there. The Ribble Way runs for 71 miles from the estuary near Preston in Lancashire up to the source of the river on Cam Fell in the Yorkshire Dales. The guidebook is written by Dennis and Jan Kelsall and carries all the usual information about route finding, accommodation and so on. And the guide is useful whether or not you're looking to do the walk in one or simply looking to base yourself in one of those lovely little towns or villages and tackle the walk in stages. As ever, the book is available either directly from Cicerone or from all good bookshops everywhere.
This sponsored programme is produced and hosted by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.